Welcome, everybody. We are ready to get started. Thank you for joining us today. We are here for the Capstone presentation of Julie Frankian. So just so everybody's aware, this is kind of the ultimate capstone experience of our master's program. It's an applied communication program with a concentration in social media. And so after approximately 2 years of classes, this is the culminating experience of the program. So we're looking forward to seeing what Julie has worked on. We will have a presentation of somewhere around 15 minutes or so, give or take, and then we will open it up for Q&A, questions after that. So I am Dr. Sylvia, and I am going to now turn things over to Julie, who will be presenting on Worcester State University's Academic Success Center Social Media Communication Campaign. So looking forward to it.
Hi, everyone. I have a presentation that I made that I'll just share with you, and we'll go through it. And like Dr. Sylvia said at the end, we'll have time for questions if you have any. So let me just share my screen and we can get started. All right. Are you able to see this? Everyone can see this, yeah? Okay. All right.
If you would click present, excuse me, I think that would.
Okay. So this is my presentation for the social media that I produced in the Academic Success Center at Worcester State University. So the project purpose was to run the Academic Success Center social media account. At the time, we only have one, and that would be through Instagram. And my job was to be in charge of content creation and the distribution schedule of that content that was going out to our student body. So the Academic Success Center, just a little background of it, it is an academic office in our main administration building, and our job is to work with undergraduate students. That is our main group of students on campus that we work with. We have two main cohorts. One are, both of them are transfer students and first year students. Over this past year, we've really put significant effort into working with our first year population. And we created this system where basically each advisor in the office has our own group of first year students based off of their academic major. And we have them throughout their whole entire year. So they are always going to have some sort of person that they can connect with in our office. And what we do with them throughout the first year is we build their schedules for their first semester. We help them with any schedule adjustments they need throughout the summer. We meet with them during the first week of classes just to make sure that what they're in is what they like, and if they need assistance with ad drop or anything like that. And then throughout the whole entire year, we provide them with all information that they need. But when it comes to just the undergraduate cohort in general, we advise them on any academic questions they have. If they need to be provided a referral to meet with someone in a different office, we do that. And then we just provide them academic support services through placement testing, tutoring, or our peer-to-peer program, which we have where students can meet together, have a buddy in a class, and kind of help each other out academically that way. So why did I choose the Academic Success Center? I chose it because of how we are constantly in communication with our students, but our main way of communication is through email. A majority of the time, students come in and tell us that they don't always check their email. So we needed to find a different medium that we could still provide them with this information on someplace that we know that they are. A lot of students use social media, so this is why we chose Instagram. And we did have other social media accounts like Facebook and Twitter in the past, but because we're kind of rebooting, we felt like it was best to just kind of focus on one account for the time being. So that's why we chose Instagram. And two, with our accounts being dormant in the past, we only posted every once in a while, and they were really spur of the moment posting. We wanted to put a more conscious effort into what we were creating, when we were distributing it, and at least wanted to start small on one platform because there's not a lot of people in the office that work on this. And for me, for the semester, because of my project, it was me finishing up the academic term. So tools that have been incorporated to help with this project, one is a content strategy framework, and the other one is the editorial calendar. These both have been really, really beneficial when it comes to creating content, so that we kind of have certain performance indicators that we want to be hitting, what we're creating and where it's being distributed, that information, and as well as the editorial calendar. That's just kind of keeping us in check with this is what's going out today, this is the medium, and have we done that? So this is going to be the example of my content strategy framework. So just the mission statement for the office. Our goal is to help students through advisement, timely and appropriate referrals, and then well-coordinated support services, like I said before, like testing or peer-to-peer tutoring, anything like that. Our job is just to help students through their academic journey, and assist them in their areas of academics, like registering for courses, change of major, letting them know the big deadlines, essentially. Our target audience is going to be the undergraduate population. And just our call to action is just to let them know that we're here for them. We're an office that can really help them at any time. Maybe if their advisor can't meet with them at the time, they know that they can always come to us, and we can help them out as best as we can. This information that we send out usually goes through emails, but we wanted to include photos, short videos, and stories on Instagram. Like I said, they can find the information through posts and stories, but we also have highlights, we have swipe ups, that they can get the information once it's already been posted, as well as they'll get letters in the mail. Our key performance indicators, we want to see views on social media stories, likes on our posts, and even questions through direct messaging. But overall, we just want to increase the engagement that we have with our students on campus. The targets that I had created for this, I wanted to increase our followers on Instagram. I sadly lost a follower, so I guess I didn't do that great of a job on that aspect. But still, even though it's just for the semester, I'd like to see the overall followers increase. And I think we kind of have that opportunity once our new batch of students come in, because we could have lost some students that have followed us in the past that no longer attend our school anymore. But so that was one thing. The other things I wanted to see an increase of video views to around 100 per video, as well as obtain around 15 or more likes per post. And again, this was going to go out to the first year and rest of Worcester State's undergraduate population. This is the editorial calendar that we used. So as you could see, there are the dates where our information was going to be posted, the information that we were going to throw out, whether it was an email or an Instagram post or a story. And then over here, we put where it was going out, like I said, like email, story, or a photo. This goes all the way here. I should have updated this, so sorry about that, but all of these have been completed at this time. So all this information has been either sent out through Instagram or email to the students. But this is something that we incorporated this year. We felt like it's been really beneficial, as it's allowed us to be able to stay on track. And there hasn't been any spur of the moment posts anymore, because we have a majority of these things planned out. Doesn't mean we didn't throw anything in there that we thought would be necessary, but this has at least allowed us to stay more organized and kind of have more of a plan when it comes to communicating with our students. And then these are going to be the posts that I've created, as well as the data that we took from it. So the first thing that I created was the advising checklist. This was one of the posts that I did from November 8th. This was right before advising period, because we got a new system. So we wanted these students to know this is what needed to be done for registration. So they needed to plan and submit their courses, meet with their advisor, get their courses approved, and have their holds resolved if they had any on their account. I use Creator Studio to help publish these as well as get the data that came along with it. So I did a short video for this one. It was a little, there were some graphics on there that moved around, but from this post, I was able to get 12 likes, 1 share, 1 bookmark. There was 134 views. And then overall within this discovery, we had 461 accounts reached with 507 impressions. And then you can see how it breaks down with the hashtags from our homepage or anywhere else. So we were able to get this post out there to a large group of people, which is pretty beneficial. The next one that we did was our last day to pass fail. So just to let students know this deadline is coming up, that it's beneficial to help their GPA. It can't be used on major minor courses and how it would end up showing up on their transcript. So here we were able to get 17 likes, 3 bookmarks, and then the views. And I like to do these ones in a story just because not everyone's going to like an academic post. But if I can do a short video about it, I'm able to see who it reaches. So even if it reaches all these students, but they may not like it, that is okay, just because I know that information is getting out to them. But with this post here, 34% of the people were not following our account already. So that's kind of cool. Was able to reach 372 overall with 402 impressions. And then this was one that I tried to create that was a little bit more interactive and fun. So these were all things that if a student did not know how to do or did not know where to find these, they should come see us so that they're okay and ready to go for registration. So if you don't know who your advisor is, they're the one that has to approve you. So come in here, let's find out, and we can connect you to them. How do I get to self-service, which is our portal that we go to for finding classes and registering? We had a training guide. So if they did not watch the Comevo registration guide, are they starting at square one and have no idea how to find these courses or how to register or anything like that? So if they had not known how to do this, any of these options, or didn't know where to find these sites or these people, we suggested that they come to us. So this generated 15 likes, as well as it reached 396 accounts and had 434 impressions here as well. So it was getting out to the people that we were hoping needed it. And then just another example, this is going to be the last one, was for the upperclassmen. So we have one of our last days of registration is for the first year students. It's usually based off of the amount of academic credit that they already have. But what happens is upperclassmen cannot register on the day that first years register. So we just wanted to send out a reminder to them to let them know that today's first year registration, so you wouldn't be able to add your courses until later tonight, just so that they didn't think that there was some issue when it came to adding these courses. And with this, we got 16 likes, 217 views. It reached 26 individuals and had 473 impressions. And it got to 17% of these individuals were not following us. So we were getting some outside viewers as well. And then I thought this was interesting too, was just the age and gender of our followers that are with our account. A majority, as you can see, are going to be within that 18 to 24 age range, which is beneficial because those are typically the students that are at our university fall within that range. And 80% of our followers are women compared to the 28% of men. And again, you can see it in the small print that these are estimated, but this is ideally where our age and gender is falling for our followers. And then just the last thing was the Academic Success Center account a success. As an athletic-minded person, I feel as though this is way too early to deem this a success, but it's definitely not here. Based off of where we have started before, media postings before, we were posting like once or twice every couple of months, and we had no active presence. So I think we're taking the steps with the limited amount of people that we have to post and create this content. I think we're starting off at a good point. So I can't deem it a success. I can failure, but there's always room for improvement, and that's where the athletic mindset comes in. You can always be better. So I think a couple of things that we could do would be just more interactive posts. Maybe we do some, this or that Worcester State style, like what do you look for the dining halls? Where's a better place to study? Things like that we can get information from students, but we're also not like just shoving information at them, lines and things like that. I also think we could maybe have some student interviews where they give tips to the incoming students, or tips on how to register. I think the more effort we continue to put in this, and if we continue to use our editorial calendar and go off our content framework, I think we have an opportunity to be really successful. We just have to be willing to put in the work and realize that success overnight. It does take time. It does effort, and that's something that we have to continue to do. So that is what I have for you. And if anyone just has any questions for me about my project.
First of all, I want to say good job, Julie. I thought it was a really good use of the Frick and Eiler Werve content strategy framework that you put in there from our integrated social media and later from social media marketing. I thought that showed that you illustrated a lot. You did a good post-mortem on what you would change, obviously being too early to look at the results, but do you feel like students are present on the networks that you're reaching out to? And if not, what would be the other networks that the ASC could look at?
Yeah. So I feel like students are active on Instagram. It might not be the most popular one. I don't think Facebook would be the best, just because usually, I guess, stereotypical, like Facebook's usually for more older individuals. So I don't think that's the best route to go. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a TikToker, so I don't know if that is the best route to go. I feel like I would need to talk to the students, and maybe the next time I have students come in here, like I can ask them and say, what social media accounts do you use? If we were trying to send out information, what would be the best platform to use? Just because I feel as though I'm still young, but then like I know that I'm hitting my 30s and I'm probably not the youngest human being. And so I feel like I need to ask the students that are, 18 to 24 or that are here at Worcester State and say, what is the best way to reach you? Because we know email's not doing it. It's beneficial sometimes, but this amount of students that come in and say, oh, I didn't read your email at all, like that's probably not the best route to keep throwing everything in. I'm not going to say let's stop using it in general, but I feel like I need to ask the students and see what they think. At the same time, I also think texting might be really beneficial too, because students are always messaging each other or always on their phones. Our office specifically does not have the resources to do that, but I know that texts are more likely to be read than a full email would be. And if they're short and sweet and we can get to the point, we might have some more luck producing information that way. But I think right now students are the best way to go.
Excellent. Follow-up question with that then. Have you thought about integrating a bot onto the ASC homepage? Because we talked about this as a sort of chat bot in there.
Yeah.
Was there any discussion or movement going forward with that?
I think it would have to do with like the staff that we have. If my supervisor would be able to get funding for it. I know the school and the retention office has one, and it seems to be beneficial. Like they do get replies. They do have students ask questions. So I don't think it would be a bad thing, because I feel it'd be beneficial too if these students, I'm sure you guys see it. You probably have students email you at 2 a.m. when I know I'm definitely asleep with questions and they want the answer right now. Having that bot, they would be able to ask that same question at 2 a.m. and get a reply a lot quicker than we would be able to get back to them. So I don't think it's a bad idea. I just think it's resources that we would need to be able to do that.
Well, then, Vieira, great minds think alike here. So you and I are in sync right here. I'm JC and she's Justin. Bad joke, nonetheless. Moving on. Final question with regard to that. What did you see in your capstone were some of the things that you pulled from other classes, such as quantitative or qualitative research methods, or some of the other theories, including but not limited to social mobilities?
The big thing I think was the data that we got from it. I didn't include everything in there, but you were able to see like how many students were being able to reach your account at the time, the overall impressions, not just for the individual post, but for that whole week in general. So if there was weeks that it was really busy and we were posting a few times a week, we'd be able to see that we got up to maybe 2,000 impressions for that week. And if we were limited with only a post or a story, then our impressions were under 1,000. So you're able to see that the more that we were able to post with, at least in the data aspect, the more individuals it was reaching. So we just need to be more consistent and maybe find things that we can maybe fill in between the informational aspects, just so that they know that we're still here and we're not just like, I think, like the megaphone. We're not just here to announce the important days. We're here for the engagement overall, whether it's academic or not. So I think that was really great. And then one thing just to realize, and I think going forward, I don't think we did a bad job at it, or I don't think I did a bad job at it, but I also have to realize that like the way that I speak is not going to be the same way that someone else speaks, because there are a lot of different, cultures on campus, a lot of different students on our campus that we're all different. We all talk different ways. We understand concepts different ways too. So maybe making the language easier to understand or more simple, and maybe not having as much wording in some of the posts, and leave it more as maybe just like an infographic or a photo, and then kind of filling that information in the bottom portion of the comments. But things for improvement that I know that can kind of make this a better account going forward. Any other questions?
So, hi, Julie. Thank you,
Hi.
first of all, for sharing with us again, the capstone project that you just completed. Following up on some of the data you were sharing, you were pointing out gender differences among, again, thinking about the analytics that you pulled from Instagram. So wondering if you were also considering looking in terms of looking at the kind of a wider picture of diversity, thinking about intercultural communication competence, kind of thinking about, are you engaging all students on campus? And if not, maybe that can be something to consider for future.
Yeah, no, definitely. I just don't, and maybe you guys know this, the way that Creator Studio was doing it, it only gave male or female. It didn't really break down with, the cultural backgrounds. Is there, I mean, unless the student like comes out and says like that is their cultural background, is there anything that kind of would be able to show the different backgrounds that we're hitting, or is there any softwares or things like that that we'd be able to see? Because then maybe we'd be able to, target one group more than the other to get all the information around the university.
So I'm not sure, again, if specifically are you asking about Instagram, right? So I was also thinking maybe utilizing survey as a tool for also finding out what social networks students are frequenting. And then with that, you could also input, all types of demographic information.
Okay.
So that would be one way to approach that. Yeah.
Okay. Definitely something that I'll really consider and take a look at for the future times that hopefully I can still be able to run this account.
And the university should have some overall statistics on like the makeup of the student body that you may not know exactly that's who is on Instagram, but knowing that that's who you are potentially addressing as your audience, that data could work well also.
Yeah. I think at least at our school, I think the retention office is one that produces that information, or admissions, probably a little bit of both, where I could see if I could get that information too, just to, make our post better and being able to be understood by all on campus.
I did have, I think it's going to be 2 questions.
Okay.
I did first. I liked that you kind of framed that although you lost a follower, that this account is kind of unique in that that is to be expected over time, right? Because people
Yeah.
who graduate or leave the university for other reasons probably aren't going to want to continue it. So I mean, that's unlike some accounts whose main imperative is like growth. Perhaps that's not necessarily what this account is. So I liked
Yeah.
that you positioned it this way. But my question is actually related to that because when I was looking at some of the hashtags you used, I think that some of that difficulty comes to play in the hashtag
Okay.
strategy that you might use as well. So like a lot of them are really well tailored to Worcester State, but a few of them
Mhm.
were like fairly generic, right? So things like I think it's
Yeah.
like hashtag advising or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
So that might pull in people who are not students at Worcester State and wouldn't really be your target audience. So I was
Yep.
wondering how you're thinking of that, or based on what you saw in the data, if you would think about making any adjustments to those, or just where you're at with that.
Yeah, no, I think the hashtags went from in some scenarios like very, very specific to very, very broad. So I think to be able to kind of keep it more Worcester State related, I would have to take out the more broad one. So the advising. Advising could be anywhere, any school in the country, or just asking for advice at the same time. So that's definitely something that I would need to adjust going forward, just so that we can try to make it more Worcester State oriented. Same with registration, I'd throw in there sometimes too. Like that's something that I would definitely need to either remove or make more fine tuned so that it does stay within our overall school population.
Mhm. And then I also want to say I laughed when you said you're not a TikToker. For some reason, I feel like with TikTok, I hear that more than I've ever heard with any other emerging platforms. Like people, I never heard like, oh, I'm not an Instagrammer. Like people, oh, okay, check that out. But TikTok seems to be divisive in that way.
If I can suggest one thing, you might say that you're not a TikToker, but having been unfortunately the model for our university and department here, it's pretty easy to jump in there and actually find yourself the face of it. So I would encourage you to do that because I think a lot of students have responded very positively to the experimentation that we do put out there, and just a little goes a long way.
Yeah, I can really see you being the face, by the way.
I'm not sure whether that's a statement that will result in a failure in Capstone, but nonetheless, I appreciate your openness and honesty. So thank you.
We'll talk, Kyle. We'll talk. So one other, I guess this is again a thinking forward type of question,
Yeah.
but I did like that you kind of articulated next steps or what you've learned and are thinking about doing next. And one of those you mentioned was kind of increasing the type of content that you're using. And as I was thinking about that, I was thinking about like the potential for stories. And one of the things that I think I've seen more accounts doing recently is like creating archives of those stories as a tool, and then
Okay.
like pointing back towards those later, linking back to
Okay.
them. So like,
I'm gonna write that down.
one I ran across recently was like a I don't know, like self-help financial account, right? But there were certain skills that, here's how to get started in thinking about your financial health. And so like they would mention these same things in their stories over time, but then somebody's like, well, what about this? Then they can point back to that story. And I was thinking with the Academic Success Center, there's probably something similar there, that a lot of what you'd be using would be repetitive, right, from year to year. So that do you see any potential for stories maybe working that way?
Yeah, no, I think so. And I think that was half of the reason why we like the editorial calendar too, is because we have it planned out and it can be used
Mhm.
for, future semesters. So for example, like some of the stuff we were using this semester, at the beginning of the semester, we were using a product called Web Advisor. And now midway through the semester, we switched to self-service for all registration and things like that. So with this and with the incorporation of self-service and things being new, these are things that we can use for next semester now and don't have to truly recreate new things. We can just adjust dates and deadlines. So even if we kept like a highlight reel or more specific in the Instagram, we can use that for information that can still be there, but then we can maybe adjust it for the same times for next semester with just incorporating dates so that they're more timely.
Mhm. Okay. I guess I said two, but I have kind of one lingering question.
Okay, go ahead.
Just thinking back to that first question I had about, like, this account is in some ways constrained more than your typical social media account because of, the way it's used. So I'm wondering, are you doing, or do you have plans to do, like, how do you promote this type of account, like this Instagram account specifically, so that students on campus know about it? I mean, I know you're doing hashtags and other things, but are you doing anything like on campus, for example, to promote it?
No, no. So let me just say that. No, we're not. I think that what we can do is for incoming students, because we're in this period now where we're meeting transfer students, we're meeting the new bundle of students that are coming in. I think we could probably incorporate it some way to say, we are currently on Instagram. That's the site that we use the most, where we do post updates and deadlines. And maybe if we even incorporated it like on our business cards or something like that, where they have that access. And then that way we increase the followers, but then they're also staying informed on that information if they're not going to necessarily check our emails that we're sending them, things like that. And I think that's maybe something that we could do for the first year students coming in, or just even include it on our signature line too in our email, so that they know, like, okay, here's the email from me, here's the link to our our Instagram account, and then that way they can stay connected that way. But I think that we also have people that we can connect with on other offices on campus that might be able to spread the word around too. But I think if we like tag them or connect them more with our own posts, and then they're maybe more likely to reshare it or things along that line, and then that could get out to a bigger population of our students.
Thanks. Any other questions? All right, then I think we can wrap things up, and I just want to say congratulations and nice work on this project and throughout your time in the program. So well done.
Thank you. It was fun and a lot of work, but it was definitely worth it. So thank you guys, all of you, for teaching me so much over the past 2 years.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Congratulations again, Julie.